So, Tim,
I'm here.
Citizen Kane is no longer the number one rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes as of today, as of a few hours ago. What movie surpassed it?
Is this a joke? Are you being serious right now?
No, and when you hear what movie that surpassed it, you're going to think I'm joking.
Oh, so I have to think like what the Rotten Tomatoes critics would declare as the greatest movie
There
ever.
was,
Can you give me a
there
decade at
was,
least?
I'll give you, it came out 4 years ago. And I don't think either of you, I don't think either of us have seen it. And it's a sequel.
Oh no, is it Paddington? Are you serious?
Yeah. Paddington 2 is now the highest rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes, surpassing Citizen Kane, because there was an 80-year-old review that happened apparently either like today or yesterday that got posted to Rotten Tomatoes that brought Citizen Kane down to a 99.
Citizen Kane. Like I was like, it's been around for 80 years. What happened to Citizen Kane? Like, did something horrible come out about the movie?
A critic, one critic put up a review, I guess, very recently, and it brought it down to a 99%. Paddington 2 is now the highest rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's when you know, like we've talked about this. There's stats that ESPN uses for the NFL that show that like Ryan Tannehill's the best quarterback in the league. When you have a statistic that Paddington 2 is the best movie that's ever been made, the statistic is flawed.
Yeah. So that one, I just kind of winged that one. I actually have a real trivia question for you.
Okay.
What do Eminem, Kobe Bryant, and Leonardo DiCaprio all have in common?
They live in Los Angeles.
Well, one of them's dead, so no.
Oh, that's a good point. That's fair. What do they have in common? They weren't in a movie together.
No.
Because the only movie Eminem's ever been in, I don't think Kobe was in.
I can't confirm or deny, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't.
Wow, that's tough. I have no idea. I don't know what, like, you're giving me stuff that I can't even guess. You're giving me trivia questions that like I have no shot at getting the answer to.
They each have one Oscar.
Wow. Are you baiting me to say something about that? Is that what you're trying to do? So you're trying to get me to make a comment about it? You know, that's much more fun than the conversation that everybody else is having about the Oscars right now.
Yeah, I figured we were going to talk a little bit on the other end of the intro about the Oscars, but I figured we'd get a little more lighthearted conversation about it. You got any thoughts?
No, because you know, I really appreciate how this podcast is starting to take off and get a bunch of new listeners, but with that comes some more responsibility with what I feel like I can say.
And on that note, Elvis Monroe, please play us in.
In a crowded room, somewhere in town.
So, Tim, the Oscars, they happened.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, I also heard. I did not see it, but I heard. As our senior correspondent to the Oscars, since you actually saw it, you are one of the now, what was it, 9.8 million, down from 45 million as of like 2014.
Yeah, down from 20 last year. I mean, it literally cut in half in a year, basically. Less than a half.
Yeah. And, you know, it's almost like, and, you know, I don't know, this is a theory, but it's almost like not as many people went to the movies this year.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
That's an interesting theory. Or that a bunch of movies that people wanted to see were canceled and moved to the next year, or weren't made, or weren't finished. Yeah, it's almost like that happened. Like, this happened at the Grammys too. And that was less of a, like, people were still cranking out music as much as they ever were. And the Grammys, they didn't cut in half, but they nearly did. I want to say they lost like 20% of their viewers from last year.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It doesn't, these award shows are different than sports, and maybe they're the same as sports because sports ratings are actually down in a lot of places. These are different than it. People, I think what's going on is people don't want to watch something that reminds them of all the horrible things that are going on in the world right now. Like, they want an escape hatch. They don't want to go to this socially distanced. I mean, only a couple of people were in masks and everything, but it's still like watching the Oscars is a reminder. Oh, last year was really, really sucked. Like, I don't really feel like celebrating it in any shape or form.
Yeah. When you and I were talking yesterday, because you were basically my radio announcer for the Oscars, but this is the first time in my adult life I haven't watched the Oscars, and I say it was lovely. I had a very productive evening.
Mm-hmm.
At least out here in on the island of Kauai, it was more of an afternoon than it was an evening. But yeah, I mean, it was very nice. I hung out at the pool, went to the gym. It was nice because then all I was doing was just checking my phone to see your oh my god, and then all those reactions that I had no idea what was going on because you're a horrific radio announcer.
We learned that
because you're giving me reactions to oh my god, look at Perry. I'm like, all right, man, there's like seven different Perrys. I'm like, Matthew Perry, Katy Perry. No, Tyler Perry. Shit.
Right.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah, no, we found out that I'm actually not the world's. I don't think I could do like baseball on the radio or anything. I don't quite have the descriptive ability for it. The other thing with the Oscars that I just can't believe people are like surprised by the fact that these shows matter less and less and less. The reason the Oscars got 45 million a few years ago, I forget the movies, but they were like huge ass blockbuster movies that were going up against each other for Best Picture.
Right.
Like, the Oscars has become, for better or worse, niche spotlight type films that, like, everybody complains that they don't make anymore, but the Oscar starts focusing on just those types of low budget movies, and these are the ratings they get. I mean, I'm sorry, like, I love Nomadland. I love most of the films that were for Best Picture, but the general audience isn't as into Sound of Metal than
those movies that were pandering to literally you and I. And I know that the word literally is overused, so I try not to use it as much as it pops into my head. But this is a time. We are the audience for Nomadland. We are the audience for Sound of Metal. We are the audience for these movies. So,
Yeah, it's just, that's the one thing that people always complain that the small budget movie isn't being made. The thing that's really happening is they're not making the big budget Oscar film anymore. They're not doing Hurt Locker anymore. They're not even doing movies going way back like Titanic. They're just not doing those big budget movies that are Oscar bait. And I actually think that's kind of interesting that, like, what has become a movie that's qualified to be an Oscar movie is it can be on Netflix. Like a Hulu film just won Best Picture. And 2, it has to be made for like 5 million or less, give or take.
Well,
with the exception of
the
Trial of the Chicago 7, I think probably surpassed that number. But
right, I will say though, we're about to get some Scorsese Leo movies coming up. So, and as a garbage truck drives by, so I apologize to the listeners. But yeah, I think we're going to be getting some of the, and of course the movie that comes to mind is a lot of Leo movies come to mind when I think of big budget Oscar bait movies.
Inception. Yeah.
Oh, Inception.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Inception got nominated.
It did, but I mean, you could. There's a lot of other movies that you could have named there.
But not as big budget as that one. I mean, that one was expensive as hell, especially at the time.
It was, and of course, made by our Lord and Savior Christopher Nolan, which he might be working with Netflix here, since Warner Bros. Is just but he's telling them to go fuck themselves, which I feel like with their actions they tell themselves to go fuck themselves. But
yeah.
Anyways, so what was your? I mean, we kind of already talked about Nomadland. Well, not kind of. We already talked about Nomadland in the last.
We did a whole hour and a half on it.
We actually, I don't need to qualify it. The name of the pod was Nomadland.
Right.
But we alluded to the fact that it was a huge favorite going into the night, and for the most part, it connected. Why? But explain to the audience why. I mean, for the most part.
Are you talking about the favorites coming in? Why they, for the most part?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I don't really need to go into all the detail. I mean, all you need to know is the Oscars made an NFT of Chadwick Boseman's likeness that is now worth over $1 million because of how unique it is. They didn't put best picture last. They put best actor last, something they haven't done in decades. They made multiple references to him throughout the show in little like bits. And then, I mean, he's won best actor pretty much at every award show coming into this. And then,
except for the BAFTAs.
Yep. And then in their infinite wisdom, he did not win it. And the true,
no, he did not.
The true, like, his family came out and had an interesting quote about it later, where they were like, he always didn't like the Oscars, didn't care about it. And I was like, you know what? He's just a better person than me. He really was.
See, here's the thing. Him and his family and everyone around him, and we've talked about him before, in that you've got to have the inner circles. You have to have the inner circle of all inner circles for his diagnosis not to come out until literally after he passed from said illness. Mm-hmm. Further just confirming what I already assumed from the Chadwick Boseman camp. Just class personified. They just, wasn't a big deal to him, so it's not going to be a big deal to us. Super happy for Anthony Hopkins. Hope he enjoys it. Hope he enjoyed the night's sleep that he got. And and them not allowing him to. Yeah.
I forgot that part.
And then them not allowing him to zoom in from his house. Did you see that whole thing?
I did. They're.
Just
like, again, I don't want to do the how stupid are they, but how fucking stupid are you?
No, but
like
they make so many unforced errors, like doing the in memoriam at 1.5 speed. Like, it's just like Kobe Bryant was up there for literally like just a beat.
Oh, my dad hated it.
Which again is.
My dad was sitting there watching with me.
Unforced errors.
Yeah, he's like, "Can I please have like 3 seconds on Sean Connery? Just to kind of like think about it."
Yeah,
like, do you mind?
It was just give me a second to ponder it. No, like, are in some people's view the best James Bond that we've ever had. In some view, the best actor that we've ever had.
And there were more like that got like 1 second, and it was just you couldn't read it unless you had 110%. It was the whole show. I'm sorry, like I watched and I probably watched 80% of it. It was not good. It was not.
No,
it was
never
weird.
is.
It's never good. It's never good.
It's never good.
We'll be back
and
next
I don't
year,
want this. Yeah, and I don't want this because I'm very excited to talk about Toy Story, and that is 100% the main aim of this podcast. And because of that, it's probably like strap in. This might be a 2-3 hour podcast, but like they make so many unforced errors and then make no effort to actually reach out to the masses. Now, is a viewership of, what was it, 9.8, so 10 million people, is that still in today's day and age actually pretty good for just a TV program? Yes. But when you have the viewership attrition of 45 million to then 7 years later 10, you bleed 35 million viewers in the time that it took us to graduate from high school to graduate law school. That's awful. This is awful.
I think there's two Oscars that come to mind where it really started going wrong recently. And I know there's a lot of things wrong with them, but two stand out in my mind. And it's the Shape of Water one. What?
Fishfuckers.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say it's the Shape of Water movie and Bohemian Rhapsody year. Like when those
why are you gonna bring that one up?
No, I
have to do it.
I have to do it. Those 2 years, we were all there. We were all watching, and there were 3 other movies that we liked better. Nobody saw Shape of Water. And I feel like we all came out of that like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, the fish fuck fetish people, they came out loving the movie.
They did. That was their movie. I mean, and it's about time, there's not a lot of that going on.
I wonder, there wasn't as much backlash as I thought there would be, because you'd think that, they do the common decency to at least cast a lead person who actually has a fish fetish, because those people aren't very oft represented in movies.
No.
That Guillermo del Toro just not up to the times.
Lifetime Achievement Award. But yeah, I mean, those, I want to say those are back-to-back years. I'm not sure if they were, but they were pretty close. And I think after those
they were close enough.
Yeah, and it's like everybody just kind of looked at each other and was like, I saw 30 movies that were better than that one. I'm sorry.
Easily.
That's not the best movie of the year. That can't be.
None of which included fish fucking. None of them.
Or voiceover, horrible edited, mindless storytelling movie that was Bohemian Rhapsody. And I love Rami Malek. That movie was not good.
I'm very much looking forward to seeing him as the new Bond villain. Very much looking forward to it. I think he's playing Blofeld, which great casting. I know you're not as much of a fan of James Bond, but he's him, Christoph Waltz. The fact that they're both going to play a villain in a Bond movie, the only other actor that I would like to see more than those two playing a Bond villain would have been Heath Ledger. So I'm very excited for that. But yeah, just, you know what? To close out our, autopsy of the 2021 Oscars, I'm going to lend a line from the movie that should have won every single award the year that it was nominated, from A Star Is Born. Maybe it's time we just let the old ways die, Tim.
Maybe it's time. I think we should do our own award show next year. Fuck them.
We should. And on that note, Tim, it is with much pomp and circumstance that we talk about the movie that I've been the most excited to talk about since we started this podcast. Truthfully. I mean, we've talked about some Christopher Nolan projects. We've talked about some Leonardo DiCaprio projects. We've really pandered to my sensibilities. But I think that this movie really awakens something in me that I always forget is there. And it's such a, whenever I hear Randy Newman's voice, whenever I hear the opening melody, it opens up a happiness that my mid-20s law student self just doesn't access very often.
I was going to say, does it awaken a friend in you?
some might say that it awakens a friend in me. What a movie. And you, by the way, you want to talk about high-rated Rotten Tomatoes movies. Both the original and Toy Story 2. 100%.
Yep.
Higher rated than Citizen Kane now. Because, by the way, that stat that we did at the top, that was for a live action movie.
Right.
So, yeah. I believe it was live action feature film. So, yeah, Paddington 2. Which, by the way, it's partially animated. Just for, that's not a real bear running around. So, but I digress. But, yeah. I mean, this movie is just great. It ages well, but in a completely different way. Mm-hmm. There's so many nuances.
Yes.
And as we're going to get into, that Disney has always done a phenomenal job. Well, more so Pixar, in my opinion, of making the movie for everybody. Making the movie for kids, making the movie for adolescents, making the movies for young adults, and making the movies for full-fledged adults. And it's just it's a fantastic movie. Where did you want to start with this?
I think Pixar started out making movies that were for kids and for adults, and now they just make movies for sad adults. Like, I watched Soul and I was like, there's a kid. This is not for a kid. This is like the meaning of life in a cartoon movie. No kid is getting 1% of this.
Was Up Pixar?
Yes. Yeah. Up is another one. It's like, this isn't for kids.
My God.
Like, this is for a sad adult.
I would imagine this is what you play at like recovery centers.
Yeah. This is for a sad adult.
To ease into the fact that we're about to talk about the meaning of life.
Right.
So we're gonna have a talking golden retriever, but what we're gonna start out with is a very depressed old man and how he lost his wife and now is just a curmudgeon that lives in the middle of the downtown area and is, just waiting to be eminent domained.
Yeah, the government is eminent domaining this guy's house after his wife dies, who is his childhood sweetheart. What a beginning.
They built the house together and all that stuff. I remember looking at a friend from back in Arizona that we served tables with who is to not be named.
No.
I'm not going to give him the satisfaction.
No.
But I remember watching it with him, and I think he had seen it or neither of us had seen it. And I remember looking to him like, what the fuck is this? But anyways.
Yeah.
Toy Story.
Toy Story.
Amazing. Where did you want to start? Because we could do an entire podcast just on the making of this movie.
We could. I mean, one of the things that stood out to me that I didn't know doing my research on this was it made the most movie of any movie that year. It made the most money of any movie that year.
It made the most movie of any movie.
They made the most movie. That's, I'm a professional. This is why I get paid the big bucks to do what I do.
I was gonna say they were the Snyder cut of their year. They made the most literal movie.
Yep.
Any movie that year.
Made $373 million worldwide in a year, an animated movie 30 years ago.
For the first time, this motherfucker made a movie.
Yep.
John Lasseter, which we're not going to try and heap praise on the man because he's problematic, but made a hell of a movie and has continued to make a hell of a movie as it pertains to Star Wars Toy Story. Sorry.
He might be involved in Star. Yeah. The John Lasseter thing is the part that really hurt for me watching this, because you just go back and you're like, this guy for 20 to 25 years was just the absolute best at what he did. And he's probably a creep.
It's like when you go back to watch Good Will Hunting and you see, oh, motherfucker, the Weinstein Company. Oh my God.
Yeah, but I mean,
shit.
Even that didn't strike me as bad as this one, because Lasseter literally created these ideas. It came from his brain. Like, Harvey Weinstein didn't create Good Will Hunting. He just
Harvey Weinstein hasn't created anything except for very awkward and very hurtful, very abusive situations. That's the only thing he's ever created.
Right. There's a lot of things with this movie. I mean, for starters, it's the first full feature animated film made on a computer that had never been done before. First time made on a computer, and you go back 1995. Okay, who was using computers? Like
Tim, this movie is as old as you and I.
I know. And
it's insane.
It's ridiculous. And it's still like, obviously the humans are the part that I think stand out the most as being not fully formed, but there's actually a reason for that I'll get into later.
That's very, very intentional. And by the way, if you're watching it on Disney Plus now, or you've bought a more recent copy of it or whatever, they have since done a complete reanimation of the movie. So what you're seeing now is not what the animation looked like back in 1995. But still, I have an original VHS copy of it, and I have watched it within the last few years. It looks incredible.
Yep.
What they were able to do in 95. Absolutely incredible.
It still holds up. And I mean, again, the humans are the part that are the least fully formed, but that was purely a money issue. That was it. It wasn't that they couldn't do it. It was that they didn't have the money to do the full renderings, which gets into like one of the big questions.
I also read it was because they didn't want the humans to be the main aim of the movie. So much like how in like, again, sorry, no, fuck it. Our listeners are our same generation. Fairly Odd Parents, how they don't generally show the parents.
Yes.
Because who gives a shit? That's not who we're making this for.
Right.
It's such a good move. But anyways, go ahead.
The other thing that's interesting about that whole parents thing is, do you know who gave them the note to do less humans? Josh Whedon.
Isn't it? Okay, so Joss Whedon.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I've got some hate.
He's involved.
This way here, boy, is he involved.
He said he came on and he gives the notes to do less humans, and he's the one who came up with the iconic line, "You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity. Farewell." It's the best line in the whole movie. He wrote that. Okay. Here's a tough.
So okay, you know what? Then I'm just gonna go here. Was that his peak? Was it just all downhill for Joss Whedon after that?
My first question was, how the hell did he get involved in this movie back then? Like, this is a Steve Jobs, John Lasseter in a basement. By the way,
how the hell did Steve Jobs get it? I know, it's just fantastic. It's amazing.
Right. So, okay, here's the tough beat. And I know you haven't seen this movie, but I know you know enough to react properly. You've Got a Friend in Me, the song, did not win Best Song at the Oscars. Do you know which song did? It was a different Disney movie.
I fucking assumed it did. I am seething right. It didn't win Best Original Song?
The song that won.
Hold on. Was it like from Driving Miss Daisy or some shit?
Kind of worse. The song.
Hold on. What? Can I get a hint?
I can't give a hint without giving away the whole thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Song that wins is Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas, the other Disney movie. That was the song that won.
What?
How tough is that? 25 years later.
It was from another Disney movie?
Yes. Yeah, and it's from a highly, highly, highly controversial Disney movie that I didn't know was made as recently as 1995. I thought it was a little bit earlier.
Second only to Lone Ranger. But yeah, that's very much in the same realm as Paddington 2 overtaking Citizen Kane. But yeah, okay. So wow. God bless Randy Newman.
Your reaction is exactly it. There's nothing to say about it. It makes no sense. It's an abomination. It's further evidence that we shouldn't care about these things as much as we do, because they have no idea what they're talking about.
So okay, just because I want to get, I just want to get as far away from what we just talked about as possible because I'm upset. I have one question that I wanted to start with. Can we get Chris Evans to go back and redub all of Tim Allen's dialogue?
As much as I would like to have Tim Allen scrubbed from this movie, when I hear him doing the Buzz Lightyear thing when he first wakes up out of the spaceship, it just kind of invigorated me.
It really sucks. It really
I was just
sucks.
ready to roll. I was like, oh, we're back. When they're fighting in the parking lot, I was back. So no.
Yeah.
I don't think we should do it. Do you have any theories on where Andy's dad is?
That was my next note.
Okay.
That was my next note.
Because there's a real reason behind this, and there's the fan theory behind this.
You know, I haven't put much thought to it. I just had written down, like, shout out to single moms. You know, Andy seems like a pretty well-adjusted kid. You know, and, you know, Sid, I'm pretty sure Sid has both parents. So, you know.
Yeah, we did see Sid's dad drunk passed out on the couch, which there's a couple scenes with alcohol-induced jokes that I didn't recognize until this most recent rewatch. But
yeah, so, you know, shout out to single moms. They're, you know, they don't get enough credit for what they do. And, you know, Andy seems like a very good person as we progress through Toy Story. You know, he seemed to be an all right guy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So
I honestly don't have any theories as to the dad, just because I haven't put much thought to it. Because personally, I don't think that there needed to be a dad, because I think the mom did just fine. I think the mom, that doesn't concern me, Tim. So, you know, maybe that's just, you know, maybe that's just something about me.
Right? Yeah. Wow. You're such a good dude.
I don't know.
I completely agree with you. The real reason Pixar said that they just couldn't afford it. And then later when they could in sequels, they just were like, why add the character?
Why?
Yeah. Even if he exists, he wasn't a part of his life back then. So you could get kind of dark with that if you want to. But yeah, it was purely a money thing. Okay. This is my brief history, as brief as I can make it, of the company that is and became Pixar.
Yeah, which by the way, if you want to look it up, even if you just go to the Toy Story 1 movie Wikipedia page, even if you just go to that, the oral history of just this movie, not even the making of Pixar, just this movie almost died. This movie almost didn't happen at multiple different points of production.
And the only reason... Yeah, go ahead.
No.
The only reason it didn't is because they had a billionaire backing the idea. That's it. Because if they didn't have that, this thing would have died a long time ago. I mean...
And a billionaire that was willing to have a complete hands-off approach to the movie.
That's the other thing. You know, the thing that I always forget about Pixar is that Jobs bought them from Lucasfilm. They were a part of, like, Lucas, he bought them from them in 1986, and they had basically done like some animated shorts, but obviously they weren't computer rendering them yet. They did some animated shorts between 86 and 95 after Jobs buys them. Most famously, I want to say it's Tin Soldier. I don't know if you've ever seen that short, but it's basically like, it looks like the Toy Story universe, and it's just a 5-minute kind of like short little.
Well, yeah, I think one time when Toy Story 3 came out, I think when I saw it, I went to one of those where they showed all the previous movies as well. And I'm pretty sure, because if anyone has ever seen a Pixar movie in theaters, they always play a Pixar short before it. And I think when they did that, they played that short before the original Toy Story movie, and then showed the original second and third. So I think I have seen it, but it's been a minute.
So Pixar, like, in between that stretch, had a ton of blunders. I mean, one of the things that Jobs had them do when he bought them was they put out a computer that was $135,000. They only sold 100 of them.
That sounds about right for what he was doing around.
That's what he was doing, the whole next thing, and making stuff that was too expensive that nobody wanted. And I mean, really, the thing that led him to be able to take that hands-off approach was the stuff that he learned when he was fired at Apple. That's kind of the thing that gets lost with the firing, is that everybody goes to, can you believe how stupid they were to do this? And they certainly were. But when he came back, he was not the same person. Like, he got fired for a very good reason.
Didn't he even say, and I apologize if he didn't say this, but didn't he even say that it was a necessary part of his progression of being of an executive as a leader, and ultimately was one of the main reasons why Apple ended up being where it was when he handed it over to Tim Cook?
He did. He admitted it. He was fully aware of it later in his life, that he was like, I mean, obviously he fired the entire board when he came back as kind of retribution.
As one does.
Right.
As one does.
I do think it gets lost a little bit how crazy some of the stuff he was doing back then was, and how miserable he would have been to actually work with and for. And when he came back, by all accounts, he was not miserable to work for in the 2000s.
Yeah, I mean, just ask Seth Rogen how he was to work with.
Right.
Jeff Daniels.
There's that's a horrible movie. There has actually been multiple articles written about this recently, that when he came back, he was completely different. The Pixar experience like completely changed him. So here's the thing. Okay,
hold on. I have something to tell you, just because, you know, we give the people what they want. Mm-hmm. This has nothing to do with Toy Story, but I just got a notification. Tim, I would like to be the one that personally breaks the news to you that Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul will be fighting in Miami on June 6th. Thoughts?
My instant thoughts are, it shows what a shitty position boxing is in, that this will be the highest rated event that they're going to get for the next 10 years. And it won't be close.
Okay, so sorry. Go. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I couldn't not. Wow. Okay. Yeah. It's 2:03 Hawaiian time on April 27th as our recording. So go ahead, Tim.
Just incredible shit. So in 1991, Disney comes to them because they have this high profile CEO in Jobs. Disney comes to them and says, we want to do 3 movies with you. This is where the history is going to end, but it's far from where the history gets interesting, because the deal with Toy Story 2 and how Disney threatened to basically make a bad version of it because they wouldn't sign the deal with them is, look that up, kids, because that is really corporate America.
Okay. By the way, okay, you want to talk about corporate America? The fact that Barbie didn't even show up until the second movie is because Mattel didn't want to license it. And then we have the lovely Rex. We have the lovely Rex addressing licensing agreements in the movie. Yep. He says, okay, so I'm from Mattel, but I'm actually from a smaller company that Mattel actually purchased. So that's why I'm here. In a children's movie. It is amazing. So my instant thought when I was watching this movie was, we 1000% need Deadpool to
make the reference. Yeah.
To make the reference for everything's happening with Spider-Man.
Oh, no, they have to. They absolutely have to, because the leveraged buyout comment by Rex is hilarious. Legitimately, when you know the background, that it's kind of funny when you're listening to it, but when you hear the background on it, like, oh, they put that in there solely to fuck with this other company. That was the whole reason.
It's Ryan Reynolds talking about Henry Cavill's mustache.
Right.
That's exactly what it is, and it's perfect.
Do you know the 3 movies they signed on to make?
Oh. Which one was Pixar, A Bug's Life or Ants?
It actually wasn't A Bug's Life, but that is a Pixar movie that came first.
Okay.
It was Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., and Nemo. Which are 3 of the all-time. They had those in the bag ready to go when they pitched the idea to Disney. It was Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., and Nemo. Those were the 3 movies.
Had that?
Those were the 3 movies that they were ready to go with. Not that they had made already, but that they had basically
I know, but like,
for.
That's incredible.
The stuff that was going on back then, and the people that were in
Wow.
those rooms are the term gets overused, but it's nothing short of genius what they were doing back then.
I mean, I mean, when I'm reading about their development of the script, and John Lasseter and the other writers were talking about how Plato's world of forms and how that and how Aristotle talked about the hero's journey and how
There's a lot of that,
you know, and how really the story is based on how your protagonist makes decisions throughout the movie. And like the fact that they're going into such detail with ancient Western philosophical storytelling for a children's movie that had the budget of what, like $15 million at the beginning of it?
It was minuscule. I don't remember what it was, but it was very small.
You know, because Steve Jobs is Steve Jobs, he was able to go back and get more money from the powers that be. But like the fact that they were going into that much detail for the movie, thank you. Just thank you. Because it ended up being a damn near perfect movie.
So I wasn't going to do the Hank stuff unless you wanted to, but the last thing I had on the founding of Pixar is there's this moment that has been confirmed by just about everybody that was there. The thing that made Steve Jobs a billionaire was not Apple. It was Pixar. So they IPO late November 1995, right after the movie is just going freaking berserk. So as the day that they go public, their CFO at the time and Jobs are huddled around like a really old fashioned computer, even for that day. And they're watching.
I thought what you're saying is they were outside huddled around an Xbox that they were just burning because that's all it was good for.
They should have. They absolutely should have. So as the stock explodes, it hits the number that the CFO knows makes Jobs a billionaire. He turns to Steve and says, "Congrats, you're a billionaire." Jobs then turns around, calls Larry Oracle, and said, "Only I made it," and then hung up the phone.
And yes, it's much like when we mentioned the name Abigail Disney.
Yep.
It's that Larry Oracle.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, you can't talk about this movie and not talk about how Pixar was founded, because this is literally the thing that gives them credence. Even when they do movies like The Good Dinosaur, you just go back to like, these guys fucking made Toy Story, dude. They're good for life. I mean, even if they never made any of the other crazy good stuff they did, they're good forever. This movie, it's like Favreau making Cowboys and Aliens. It's like we can forget that. It's okay. Right. It happened. You know, we were all there.
Or Lucas making Red Tails, or Spielberg making your favorite movie, Ready Player One.
Or yeah, I mean, there's any number of things that you can go. I mean, really can't think of the one that I would do for Tarantino that I would say was like actively bad, but yeah, we'll save that.
We'll go past that.
I want to start off the conversation about the movie itself. I have so many questions about how this world works. Number one, I don't know whether they can feel pain when they're in their trance state, because there's certain times where they wake up.
I hope not.
They wake up and they're like, ah, and there's other times, like at the beginning of the movie, Andy flings Woody down the stairs with his legs open in a manner in which would destroy any balls that action figure had left. And he's
which,
just
by the way, I'm going to get to in a second, but we know, my theory is they definitely have balls, but go ahead.
They beat it.
No. I have a whole thing for this. Go on.
That's my first question is, I don't know whether they can feel pain, because Buzz loses an arm and seems to be okay. The second thing,
Potato Head loses all appendages at separate times. And by the way, if he feels pain, that is a dark toy design.
Right.
Very dark.
He's doing the deadlift and his arms
just pop out. His arms pop out, and then the not G.I. Joe, but very much G.I. Joe that gets stepped on, that is like limping. Like
he feels pain, like clearly.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that I don't get, because in their trance state, there's all sorts of rules that I don't seem to get, because they're like, when they decide they're going to talk to Sid and scare the shit out of him, they're like, we have to break the rules. And I'm like, are these universal rules? So this is my next question. Who are these people's gods? Are they polytheistic? Are the kids their gods? Like, what do they believe in? Because they all have a code. Every single toy that was even in Sid's room was like, talking to the kids is like breaking the rules.
We know who the aliens' god is.
That's exactly my point. The claw.
And the claw. It's their god, and they have like an organized religion, and it's amazing, because they, like, seriously, how deep do I want to get into this?
As deep. We're going deep.
Okay, how close? How close to a modern religion
how close to a cult-like religion is? Here's the thing.
How close to a cult-like religion? And okay, we come into this podcast, we make jokes, and in that, how close to Mormonism is the aliens' relationship to the claw?
Here's the thing. Every time I see that scene, I crack up. When the guy gets picked up and he's like, I have been chosen. I go to a better place. He's like he's dying.
And by the way, it's not just Mormonism, Catholicism, all of it.
Yeah.
How close is it?
The claw. I don't know who they're trying to go for in that, but it, as my mom walks in the background, the people in the YouTube audience will enjoy that. Going to the God of Pixar question, though. First of all, we know these movies all take place in the same universe, right? Yes. So Cars takes place in the same universe as Toy Story. Who is their God? Like, do they have like,
and like different... is it? And by the way, we're probably gonna do a Cars.
Save it
at some point. So, but like, Cars Holocaust.
I know. It's like, what is
going on in this world?
What do they think? Like, what happened? Like, how do they view certain huge historical events, and what lens do they view them through? Like,
yeah,
because there's clearly rules to this that I feel like if they wanted to do the J.K. Rowling Pottermore site, where they just lay out the rules of the Pixar world, I would be down to just read like hundreds of pages as to how does this work.
If there's a test as to which toy company I would be owned by, I don't know if that's the comparison to which house you're in, but like it is a missed opportunity, because we are the exact generation that does those tests and that would 100% want to do those tests, and we're the generation that grew up watching these movies. But
okay,
you were saying,
I'm going to turn it over to you after this question. This is my number one question with the movie, is that obviously Woody's a dick for how he deals with the whole bus thing. But what makes it worse to me is that, so this guy wakes up and he thinks that he is the embodiment of his action figure. He thinks he's an actual like spaceman.
Right.
So clearly the other toys must have, when they woke up, believed that they were these people.
Yes, so, there's a cave allegory situation going on with these toys.
That's what I mean. So when he's doing his whole, like, he's just being a total dick to him, I'm like, when you were there once. When you woke up, you were obviously like, I am this Texas Walker Ranger person. Like, there's no way.
Which by the way, we know that he does a much better job of come Toy Story 4 with Forky. By the way, just to defend my guy.
That is true.
To defend my guy. But not a great look.
Side note, Tom Hanks does not voice the children's action figures. That is his brother. They got his brother to voice the toys. Yeah, kind of interesting, right?
They didn't get Chet?
No.
Okay.
No, we're not going into that in this podcast.
Howdy, y'all.
Yeah.
So you asked me, Tim, if the toys feel pain.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure they feel pain.
Okay.
What I am very clear that they feel is pleasure.
Arousal. Yep.
The sexual tension.
Not even
that is
tension.
Pervasive throughout every single Toy Story movie between Woody and Bo Peep. And then we get the payoff in Toy Story 4, by the way. But the sexual tension that's 5 minutes into this children's movie, which, by the way, made by John Lasseter, makes sense. But, okay, neither here nor there, I guess. Wow. Just wow. And by the way, his name is Woody.
Okay, the line where she is like, maybe I'll get someone else to watch the sheep. And he watches her walk away, and I'm like, okay. You know that there's a Trevor Wallace video that came out after the Drake song. I forget what it is, but he's like, on Valentine's Day, I had sex. And Trevor Wallace is like impersonating Drake. And he's like, Drake literally put that line in there just to prove to people that he fucks. That's it.
Yeah.
That was the whole point to that line. That was it, to prove that these characters have intercourse with each other. It was bizarre to rewatch.
Yeah. I'm happy for Woody. I am.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm happy for Bo Peep because she is taking ownership of her agency, and she's confident, and she was in 1995 pushing what were the body positivity of the 2020s. She's got the positive energy that is what we're hoping for, and happy for her. And I'm actually more happy for her than I am for Woody.
I mean, other than Woody becomes Holly's favorite doll in The Office and sort of becomes a whole character in that universe. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Why did you have to tell me that when we're trying to have a coherent podcast? What the hell?
Yeah, he's kind of a character.
My brain.
He's kind of a character in that show.
Kind of.
Yeah, like he talks, like Michael talks to him, Holly talks to him. Like,
Michael pours coffee on him. Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, they can't feel pain because I can't have my favorite TV character
be a murderer,
be basically hot water bordering Woody.
Be like
have that.
Doing, like Dick Cheney Guantanamo Bay stuff.
And in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Oh my God. Tim, why did you do that to me?
No, I'm with you. There's so many.
Actually that leads me into, real quick. It's now Potato Head. It's not Mr. Potato Head. But if Pixar could grace us with the amount of money to do the idea that I have always wanted to do, there is 1000% a rated R version of this world.
Yeah, it's called Sausage Party. They made it.
No, I was just gonna say, not in a sexual sense, in like the mental illness of these toys and again, Potato Head just getting taken apart and put back together, and like all the torture that these toys go through, because Potato Head even references it. I'm for ages 2 and up.
3 and up. Says on the box, 3 and up. After his
3 and
sister
up says on the box.
Shakes him.
Yeah, and he's just and then when we get to the daycare in Toy Story 3, them just getting straight up abused. There is 100%.
I didn't think about
There
that.
is
I didn't think about that.
100% a rated R version of this movie that doesn't even have to go into the sexual
And please
relationship
don't, by the
between
way.
Woody and
I don't
Booby.
wanna s-
And please
That
don't.
was the weirdest
John
part of
Lasseter,
Sausage Party. Don't do that. That was the weirdest part.
Yeah. For those of you that haven't seen Sausage Party, it's a very funny, very well done movie up until the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then there's a food orgy that involves sausages and falafel.
It was unnecessary.
And
It went on 5 minutes too long.
hot dogs and buns. It's just bad. But
Although the talking condom was funny.
that was take.
No, that was as hard as I've ever laughed in a movie theater. I don't remember how old I was, but it just hit me in a way that was like, oh, that's funny.
And then the angry douche.
Yeah, well, that was less funny.
So, anyways, but yeah, there is such a rated R version of this movie that I honestly think would be Oscar bait. Because think about it. You could have a movie that does all the Oscar tropes through the world of Toy Story. Mental illness, like depression.
Yeah.
It might be a horror film. Like, or
There's
at least a
aspects of it
thriller.
in there.
Like M. Night Shyamalan. It's sitting there for you. It really is.
You know, you're right. But even
By the way, all the scenes at Sid's house before when they're making us to believe that those toys are literal toy cannibals.
Yeah, it's
they're
horrifying.
They're almost there.
I think they wanted to do it. Like, I think there was a moment where they all looked at each other in the room and were like,
that was
how far do we want to go with this?
That was Disney's note, was they wanted to get more edgy.
I think
that
on
was
my rewatch, I see like 5 opportunities for them to, if they want to really like, nope, this movie is not for kids. Never was. Weren't trying to do it.
So I have a couple quick, I
do
gotta make some shout outs. Shout out to the sergeant from Full Metal Jacket.
Yes.
That they cast in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have his name written down, but everyone knows who he is. He's absolutely a joy in every single interview, in all of it. I love that guy. Mm-hmm. And I really hope that nothing negative comes out about him, because like him, Randy Newman, Tom Hanks, I just don't, and like Neil deGrasse Tyson, Hanks. I don't want, I just don't want anything bad to ever come out from them. Again, shout out, God bless Tom Hanks, God bless Randy Newman. They're just perfect for this movie. And some background to Tom Hanks. Do you know how they convinced him to do this movie?
I know that in the middle of it, he like wanted to quit because he hated the character so much, and then they had to rewrite some stuff. But
so that was later on to get him to do the movie. And this, apparently they do this a lot now to convince good actors of, being voice actors. They made an animated version of his character in Turner and Hooch and had the audio dubbed over the animation. And apparently they did such a good job that he agreed to do it.
I think he still gets royalties on the first movie too. I think he got a percentage.
I hope
deal
he does.
Because
I hope he does, because he brought a panache and a sort of validation to the project.
Can I ask you about that though? Would we hate that character more if it wasn't Tom Hanks?
We'd hate it more if it was if it was Tim Allen. I can tell you that much.
Okay, fair. Because like I found myself like, even as an adult, and I know all the things that have been written now, and he's a total dick. I absolutely hate almost everything that Woody does in this movie.
Woody, not Tom Hanks.
Yeah, Woody. Like completely infuriates me when I take even the second to think about it, and yet I still love the character because it's Tom fucking Hanks. Like I can't help it.
So what a movie year 1995 was.
Yes.
Like what a freaking movie year.
Yes.
But yeah, that thought just came into my mind. Everybody look up the level of movies that was coming out in 1995. It's absolutely mind-blowing.
The 90s were great. Yeah.
Yeah, the 90s were fantastic. So here I have a question for you and I, I have now officially, as of this morning, taken my last law school class and am firmly in the rhythm, there being no rhythm whatsoever, in studying for finals or not studying for finals. And you are at about the same point as I am. So this is the perfect time to ask you and to ask myself, what is Woody able to be charged for when he attempts the murder of Buzz?
Criminally? I mean,
Criminally.
obviously there is criminal assault. There would not be civil assault because he didn't see it.
Right.
It's from the back.
Right.
There's probably some attempted homicide. There's probably aggravated assault because he uses a weapon, right? Yeah. I'm trying to think. Well, he kind of uses
a vehicle.
That's true. He uses
a car.
He runs him over. I'm trying to think of the other things that he could have gotten. I mean,
and talk about a hypo from hell, because then, okay, the car has agency. Is the car also an accomplice?
That was the thing I also don't get, is like these things come alive and you can't control them really, except for the car, which still you can use its remote control. Like the car has no control over what he's doing, apparently. I don't know.
I think in my head, the car was always able to do its own thing, but can be overridden by the remote.
All right, that makes sense.
So if the remote is being manipulated, he loses agency over his movements. But if the remote isn't being used, then he's the one that controls his movements.
Got it. I mean, that's as far as I could get on his rap sheet. I mean, there's
because like, could it rise to depraved heart? Like, could you get murder too?
If he died, you mean?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I think so. I mean, especially since all of those people are snakes and are willing to rat everybody out
at a
instantly.
Moment.
There's no loyalty in that room. That room is like, first of all, they're so worried about new toys coming in.
Hold on. At that point.
Because they're so worried about new toys coming in, but as soon as someone's replaced, they just make fun of the guy. Like, this guy's life is basically over. He's resigned. Like, think about how sick that is as a toy. You're going to spend the rest of your life in this dark, basically box with no air or light whatsoever. And they have nothing to do but
Disney, Pixar, we're here.
Yep.
We are here to make the rated R version, and we're not scared.
I might write it anyways.
2021.
I might write it.
In fact, can we get Sean on the line? Let's start getting this going.
Because Toy Story 3, and we're going to do a whole separate pod on that, is much darker than people realize. That they spent basically 18 years or 15 years just locked away, not being able to do anything. There should have been a lot more. Same with Toy Story 4. Yeah, there should have been a lot more. Same with Toy Story 4
because we get introduced to the idea of lost toys. We get introduced to that idea when Woody and Buzz get left at the gas station.
Yes.
And then we come back to it until Toy Story 4. And how
it comes back in all the movies.
Yeah, but there's this whole like underworld of lost toys.
Yes.
Including but not limited to Bo Peep.
Exactly. I have who becomes like Katniss Everdeen style Toy Story, which is just, again, Bo Peep is just she's killing it. She is killing it on all levels. She's awesome. Side note on that. What's amazing, like, people always talk about how smart it is that they make a new Toy Story basically every 8 years. I want to say after they did 1 and 2, 95, 99, they basically took 8 years off in between the next ones.
Right.
It's smart because they did a good job. Does that make sense? Like, it's smart because they are so good at what they do. Like, if Toy Story 4 sucked, it's actually a huge gamble to put out 4.
If Finding Dory sucked, Disney gets burned to the ground by mid-20s, by just a bunch of 20 to 28-year-olds.
I agree, and that's
we would go release the Snyder Cut on their ass.
Yeah, like, people act like
a heartbeat.
If it sucked, that we would have the same relationship to it, and that's not true. I watched Toy Story 3. I'm pretty sure I was a legal adult. I cried in the movie theater. I'm not even ashamed to admit it.
Easily.
I was a full ass. I was a full ass grown adult.
I've cried at every single first viewing of every single Toy Story movie.
I thought they were going to die. I legitimately thought they were going to die, and it affected me.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. If you're going to be one of those people that's like, oh, fucking bitch or whatever, you know what? Here's the thing. That just means you're not secure enough in your masculinity or in whatever confidence or whatever. You need to look inward. You
Right.
don't need to look outward. I am perfectly fine with the fact that I have some crushing emotions, specifically with the first one, because of just what You've Got a Friend in Me means to me, because of all the memories that I have of growing up watching these movies with people that are no longer with us. So you know what?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Forgive me for having an attachment to these movies in a way that's, probably not healthy given the person who directs the movies. But hey,
nothing we can do about that. I was going to ask
nothing we can do about that.
You keep getting me onto these sidetracks before I want to ask my big question, but that reminds me, I easily saw this movie over 100 times when I was like under 5 years old. Like,
oh my God.
Easily.
No.
Probably I would start getting nervous if you started getting around 300. But I definitely saw it more than 100 times.
So you're not going to do the 100 times more, 200 times more, 300
TikTok
times
video,
more, 400 times more, 500 times probably.
I love those TikTok videos. But no, the question that I was going to ask you, the famous scene where they're under the semi truck at the Dynaco gas station, which by the way, Dynaco in Cars. Did that make you think of what talking politics is like in 2021, where they're screaming at each other about things that don't matter? One is from a literal different planet with different rules and different values entirely. And the other one is just a dick. Because when I watched that scene, I felt like I was watching a political debate. Now,
which is good because it's Tom Hanks versus Tim Allen. So, I didn't think about that, but I tell you what, it's pretty present.
I don't know if that's what they were going for with it, but there is clearly this sense of they're trying to drill home that people who want to hold on to the way things are not the good guy. I mean, I'm sorry, that is just a theme.
Yeah.
Like, you can say whatever you want about that. Like, they're trying to make the point that things change. You have to adapt with them. And if you don't, you're a bad person. So.
Yeah. The more important question I have for that scene is,
we got to talk about that scene.
How high is the Pizza Planet driver?
So, okay. Let's do this now. There are at least 2 stoners in this movie. My theory is that Slinky is a huge pothead.
Oh, I love this.
Because you see his eyes are always half closed. He's always wanting to play board games. He's always chilling out. He's just there to get like his belly. He's not like dog-like. He's stoner-like.
I love this. And every single time he gets overstretched, he goes, whoa!
Yes, exactly. He has the stoner voice. Slinky's a stoner. It's just a fact. Like, they meant to do it. I'm convinced of it.
Wow.
The other one.
Great. That's great.
So there's, like I talked about, a lot of substance abuse in this movie. The first instance, clearly that Pizza Hut driver, there are cans floating around in that car. And that guy, I mean, obviously with the whole look and everything, they're going for like a stoner vibe. That guy is crossed and he is delivering pizzas.
Oh, he's crossed.
For what appears to be a very well-run company. I actually really like their interior and what they got going on in there.
Incredible.
Yeah, no, I think it's well done. It's like Peter Piper Pizza if, they just invested a ton of money into it. Side note, Disney is actually opening a replica of this in Disneyland this year. They're opening Pizza Planet. So
Okay. So for everybody that knows me, they know this about me, but for the listeners that don't know it, I have yet to make the trip to Disneyland or Disney World for that matter. But Disneyland's now just a couple hours drive away from me. I need to go.
Yeah, I think
because here's the thing. I need to see all the Star Wars stuff. I need to see the Marvel campus. And if they're going to have a fucking pizza planet,
they've got like Indiana Jones, which I know you're into a little bit. Like there's stuff there, you know?
God, I forgot that they have Indiana Jones too, because it's Lucasfilm. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need it. Here's my one hang up though. Am I gonna turn into one of the Disney adults?
No, see, here's the thing.
And I hate that we said that at the same time.
Yeah.
But am I gonna turn into one of those people? Because I feel like as far as pop culture goes, I don't think that I like stuff more than Toy Story, Star Wars, and Marvel.
The thing with Disney is that it's fun as long as you allow yourself to just be completely immersed in it and ignore the commercialism of it all. Like, if you ignore the fact, like,
I have my own podcast. It's fine.
Yeah,
my name's in the title. I'm past it.
Once you get past that, it's phenomenal. It is a good time. Like anybody who says that I've been to Disneyland and don't like it I've actually haven't heard. I know I have one friend who's like, I would rather do like 10 other things than do that. Okay. I'm like, that's fair.
So,
but you would still go if invited.
See, here's what needs to happen, because I feel like I can't just go with anybody. I feel like I need the correct steward to shepherd me through.
Yeah. I
think you're the right person, just because you'll just kind of let whatever happens. Yeah. If I go with the wrong person, I feel like they'll want to replicate their first time.
Yes. And you don't want to go with a significant other who you're not attached to, because that F's with you. Because then,
by the way, I'm about as far away from having a significant other as I've ever been in my life anyways. That's
great. But there's like great restaurants at this place that I'm like, not really feeling it. Not trying to go there.
So like, okay, is it true? And again, this isn't, the listeners, I told you at the beginning, this is going to be a 2-3 hour pod. Are there actually good, like legit good restaurants at Disneyland?
The thing is that they have we've been to downtown Disney, right? That's where like the good restaurants are. When it was closed.
Like I went to a Starbucks.
I went to a Starbucks. So, that's a whole other story that we'll get to later.
Yeah. When we have Bryant on, we are 1000% talking about it.
There are good restaurants there. There are really good places in the park. You have to know where to look. The tourist trap places that everybody goes to are meh. But
there's tourist trap.
It's a whole world,
there's like local places.
It's a whole economy of like, if you know this place, you know the places to go. And so
this is great.
Yeah, no, it's a whole thing. What movie are we talking? Toy Story.
Toy Story. Yeah, no. So to bring us back, to go further to the point on how just ready Potato Head is to be the informant.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He has a noose.
I didn't know if we were gonna do this part.
He has
he draws the
noose ready to go. Just incredible. I mean, it's just it completely threw me off in a million and one different ways. He drew a noose on the Etch-a-Sketch, and it's incredible that they went to such a length to illustrate that Mr. Potato Head is just an absolute. He's a cop.
Yeah, like he's a cop.
He's a cop.
He's a cop. He's absolutely a cop. The news scene is horrifying. There's nothing funny about it. When he draws it and Woody's staring and he like gets all scared, he knows that's because he means it.
Yeah. So, okay. We've been dancing around talking about Sid. We've been dancing around talking about the issues that the kid next door has.
Okay.
So Scud, I don't know if you know that that's the dog's name. Hold on. Trust me.
Okay.
Scud, Is he not the perfect example of bad owners make bad dogs?
There's that dog. I am calling. Who's the? What's the? Oh my god!
Caesar Milan.
Yes, I'm calling Caesar. I'm calling somebody. Like
that house does not have a pack leader.
You know that dog's been abused. You know that the first time that
again, rated R Toy Story. Everybody, it's there.
The first time that little dipshit tried to tie a firework to something, it was definitely that dog. And
oh no, Combat Carl.
Dogs' teeth don't come like that unless you file them. Okay?
Some heavy ass abuse to that dog.
That dog has been modified and fucked with to be a killer. And by the way, when he gets out at the end, that is just the primary indicator that he is not in a good situation, because either the door is left open or Sid gets pissed off and kicks him out, whichever it is. But
so
the dog,
it was curious. It was curious to me that the only thing that was stopping Sid was a light rain.
Do you like that?
That kid doesn't seem like the kind of kid that lets anything really stop him from being a little shit.
He's a go-getter. Yeah.
Which, okay, if we're gonna go to that, I have one question, and it's really the only question that I have involving Sid. And
only one? Sure, I have like an hour on this if we wanted to.
No. Oh, there's an hour, but there's one question. Like, if you could go back in time and talk to a person and ask them one question, I would ask John Lasseter this one question. How old does Sid get to until he shoots up a school?
Okay. So, first of all, that is completely correct. And this movie was made before Columbine, if I'm right. Because some of the things that they do with that character, they would not do now. Mm-hmm. The way that he is portrayed with the skull and crossbones, black shirt, with all of the heavy metal rock posters and the video games, that is, he looks like one of them, by the way.
Them making, well, Annie looks like Derek Carr, but that's a whole separate thing.
Yeah, separate.
The fact that they make jokes that he doesn't have any friends.
Yes, that he gets kicked out of summer camp because he's just a little shit and he's blowing stuff up. Yeah. But there is a theory on this, right? At the end of Toy Story 3, when the garbage man comes, he has a skull and crossbones bandana in his back pocket. People have theorized that that's Sid, which I call bullshit on. Because
bullshit.
He is either dead.
He doesn't deserve redemption.
No, he's either dead or in jail. There's no other in between. By the way, how
prison? He's not a jail guy. He's a prison guy.
Prison. By the way, how old is this kid? I can't. Every time I watch it, I can't figure out how old he. I think he's like 16, give or take.
Oh no! He can't drive yet. He's probably.
He's 30. At the Pizza Planet by himself. He goes home by himself.
He's probably gonna skateboard.
Oh,
okay. He's probably a 13-year-old. He's probably, and much like you were when you were 13,
or like my youngest brother, actually. The first question.
No. Yeah, Trey. Yeah, okay, sure.
The stuff that kid is fucking with. The initial blow up scene where he blows up the army guy. I forget what his name is.
Combat Carl.
There is bricks that ricochet off of Andy's house from the explosion. He's not fucking with legal stuff over there. He's making pipe bombs. That isn't like not funny. Like on rewatch, none of that is funny. It is horrifying. Yeah. He is the guy that gets on Reddit today and goes and does something horrible. Like
it's just Unabomber shit right there. Like, or if you haven't seen it, the Murder in the Mormon Church or whatever the hell the name of that dog is, that guy.
Yes, it 100%. It is that. Oh, I can't think of the term. It's not the term for the people who for the men who hate women because they won't have sex with them. I forget the name of what this
incel.
It is that incel, very just fucked up view of everything. Like, he is abusive to his sister. He just straight up steals her stuff and pushes her away.
Which, by the way, was just a great moment when she was just fucking with him at the end. That was fantastic.
Yeah. That was great. Yeah, no, that is great. The Sid thing, dude. I could go on for hours about this kid. There's so much wrong with it. Like, when he's cutting open the doll and he's pretending to be a doctor, and Buzz is like, I don't think that man ever went to medical school. I mean,
he's giving me the same vibes as the and I just watched this movie, so I'm very pissed off that I can't remember the guy's name. But the fucked up dude in Ted.
Oh, Donnie. Yeah,
Donnie,
it's a little Donnie. There's a little Donnie in it for sure. I mean, the scenes with Sid are still scary, is my point. Like, some of that stuff, it's still horrifying, even though I know how it all ends. Just unbelievable.
Like, they're like coming out of the mud, and there's nails through their heads and shit. Like, it's wild stuff.
I don't remember if they talk about this. Do they ever talk about what state that this all takes place in? Because I have some thoughts about the differences in housing.
No, but it's definitely LA.
Okay. I was going to say Los Angeles, because it's difference
1000% LA.
The difference between Andy's house and Sid's house is like striking. Like, Andy's house.
Why? Okay. You and I need to hang out with other people. You and I need to have conversations with other people, because we keep saying the same adjectives for shit.
What did I say?
You said striking, and I said striking at the exact same time.
We can edit that out. That's fine. We'll get Chris on it.
Yeah, we'll get Chris to add another 45 minutes to his work on the pod.
Can you please find the one time in this podcast where that we're not marking, by the way, we've stopped marking when we fuck up on stuff, which is just a horrible practice.
And by the way, Chris, if you can find a silent melodic, no, I'm kidding. What were you going to say?
No, the thing with the houses, like, I know that Andy's house is being sold, so they probably did some work on it, to get it ready, which makes sense. But Sid's is like 50 years old in this movie with no renovations whatsoever. It's pretty unique for modern neighborhoods, and how houses are basically just carbon copies of each other next to one, but not in Los Angeles,
which is very LA.
Not in Los Angeles. The houses are not the same next to each other there, but everywhere else.
And it's more Valley LA.
Yeah.
It's because obviously if you're in LA, there's no yard.
Yeah. Well,
though in the 90s, maybe.
They had dirt. Sid's is a dirt yard also. I forgot about that. Like, there's
a good point.
There's all sorts of stuff going on there.
Yeah.
What do you think? Sorry, go ahead.
No. After you.
What do you think is the adult theme of this movie?
Ooh.
Because I've already hinted at what I think it is.
The adult theme of the movie.
Because they make these movies for adults and kids, which means not only is the humor funny to both adults and kids, but there is a theme that adults are supposed to pick up.
The adult theme to this movie. Attempting to retain a childlike happiness.
It's a good point.
That's that. At least that's what I take from it, because this movie
delusion,
was.
You mean?
No, not. I don't even think it's a delusion. I don't think I take as much of a jaded view of this movie as that. Maybe it's because my first viewing or first 30,000 viewings of this movie was as a child. But when I watched this movie, like I said at the top, it really does. It reminds me of stuff. It reminds me of very good, happy things.
Yes, it's overall like a hopeful tale, even though Buzz has his bubble ultimately burst by.
Yeah, despite all of the nooses, despite all the.
By the way, that TV is the only thing that ages this movie. Everything else, I mean, obviously the animation isn't up to par, but everything else, it's frozen in time. It'll still work 30 years from now, just as much as
because the animation that we're seeing now is, I believe, when they did the re-animation, it was 2007.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it just, for me, the theme is just unlocking that childlike sense of being able to actually enjoy a movie.
I think that for 1995, it's pretty damn progressive in its idea.
It's extremely progressive.
In its idea that change isn't bad, right? And people have different perspectives than you do. And that is not that people come from different areas, right? And they are different from you. And that is not a bad thing. And by the way, we're better when we all get along with people from other backgrounds and other areas.
And they're not having the more positive living situation being the single mom household as compared to the household that has two parents, as having, I mean, even having Bo Peep being the sort of person that's initiating the interactions between her and Woody. Like, there's a lot of stuff in here that is very much, wow, I would have thought that this was more of a 2020 movie instead of a 1995 movie, when, you know, movies like Driving Miss Daisy were winning ahead of Do the Right Thing. Like, when stuff like that was going on.
Yeah, I mean, there's clearly like a pretty big tolerance message hidden in this movie that I think I probably picked up on a little as a kid. I mean, obviously you never know what kind of melds into your brain when you're a child, but I think people have always asked, like, every generation success.
Yeah. Do you think you got indoctrinated by this movie, Tim?
Maybe. I was just going to talk about that, because the things that we view as kids are what ultimately influence us later, right? So everybody our age, everybody, unless you were a monk or something.
No, everybody. No,
every single person my age has been influenced by this movie at least this much. And there are not many pieces of art that exist that is true about. I would say Toy Story is at the very top of things that I can guarantee, if I talk to somebody my age, they have seen and they know what I'm talking about.
And you know what's funny? You know what the other one probably is? It's Finding Nemo.
Yeah, Nemo over Monsters Inc. You're right. I was going to try to make the case for Monsters Inc., but you're right. It's Nemo. It's Nemo.
But mind you, Tim, I've only seen Monsters Inc. once.
Monsters Inc. is the most socialist cartoon that's ever been created.
I need to go back and watch it, because I saw it for the first time when it came out, and I haven't seen it since. I'm not a Monsters Inc. fan. I'm not against it, but I'm not. Yeah.
It's just a pro-union, anti.
Really, I don't even.
It is.
I don't even remember anything. I remember walking through doors to different dimensions and shit, but outside of that, I don't remember anything.
It's as political as any kids movie can possibly be, like by far. It's not even hiding it on rewatch, because like my mom watches kids at the house, for those that don't know, and it was on the other day, and I was listening. First of all, they watched Bug's Life, which the line from Hopper when he's like,
I need to rewatch that. It's been a minute too.
Have you seen the line from Hopper where he's like, once the ants realize they outnumber us, there goes our way of life? Yes. I'm like,
yeah,
that's in a children's movie. That is
dark.
Dark. High level social economic ways of thinking, just buried in there. But
do not let Tucker Carlson see that movie.
Oh yeah, no, because that's the problem.
You think Dr. Seuss is bad? You think their coverage and reaction to Dr. Seuss is problematic? Oh boy. Or Wall-E? Oh boy. Don't let Tucker Carlson see any of those movies.
No, because they view it through a different lens. They view it through I don't even want to get too into this.
Anyways, anyways,
I don't want to do this.
I have a different question, because this is a Toy Story pod. What are you hoping? And I have an answer, so to give you some time to think about the question. what are you hoping to get out of the Chris Evans Buzz Lightyear origin story? Because I am so much hoping that we get more with Zurg, and just with that whole battle between them two, because it was alluded to a little bit in passing in Toy Story 1 with the kids yelling out Emperor Zurg and all that stuff, and with Buzz Lightyear saying the canned lines at the very beginning. And then the video game that Rex is playing for Toy Story 2.
And Zurg shows up in 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
I so want to get, like, is there any way that we can get like a Star Wars Episode 3 style Buzz Lightyear versus Zurg moment?
Do we know that it's an origin story yet? Or is it going to be like an in-between?
My understanding was that it was an origin story, and that's why they got Chris Evans to
like
do
a younger actor.
A younger Tim Allen. And I think that was the excuse to no longer have to give Tim Allen money.
That's a good idea. I mean, the other...
But I'm pretty sure there's a Toy Story 5 coming out, and I hope there is. So.
There is. You know, one of the things I forgot to mention, Buzz was almost named Lunar Larry, which thank God that didn't happen.
And then Buzz for Buzz Aldrin.
Buzz Aldrin, exactly, which more people would have known who that was in 95. It's actually more like I don't know if you're like a kid today, you have to kind of be like, so there was this astronaut like 50 or 60 years ago, you know.
So I was gonna make a joke. Does your little brother even know him? But your little brother wants to be a pilot, so I'm sure he knows who Buzz Aldrin is.
I was gonna make that, and then I realized Trey not only knows who he is, probably knows more about him than I do. I would venture to say.
So like,
but with the
that's a good okay boomer moment for us.
Yep. But with the origin story thing, I mean, they have to do more Zurg, obviously. I mean, you have to get into the sort of like, he's from a planet that sounds like Krypton. I forget what exactly it's called. But it has to be.
I'll keep going.
But you kind of have to get like the beginning of Man of Steel type origin with who his parents are, what led him to leave that. Like, if you're just going to go into, he's an actual like space ranger, not like
Planet Zertron.
Okay, I was totally wrong. I thought it sounded more like Krypton. But yeah. But if you're gonna do that, you kind of have to buy into his own like insanity. That you could go really dark with it, right? Where you're like, no, this guy thinks this is happening, but this isn't actually what's happening to him. As he's like going through.
No, it's not the toy version of Buzz Lightyear.
So that's what confuses me. So they're gonna do like he's actually like he's actually like Han Solo.
It's who the toy is based off of, is my understanding. I could be wrong, but it's like the actual. It's still going to be animated, but it's going to be what the toy in Toy Story is based off of.
Got it. Okay, now I'm on the same page, and I apologize for taking so long for our listeners who are now crashing into things on the walls.
That's at least my understanding of it. That project, at one point, I thought it was a live action, so who knows?
I actually have high hopes for the Buzz Lightyear thing if for no other reason than Disney has now done 4 seasons of television.
4?
Yeah, 2 of Mando.
WandaVision, sorry.
And then
you said seasons. I thought you said series. Cool.
No, I mean they've done 4 seasons independent, and every single one of them has been critically acclaimed and well received. There isn't even really a camp of people that are like, which is weird, by the way, for 2021. There's not even a camp of people who are like, actually, these suck. Other than the people who already hate superhero movies. Other than those people.
No, Tim. You didn't. Have you watched the last of Falcon and Winter Soldier yet?
I have not watched the last 2 episodes.
Okay, so the last episode, shall we say, Tucker Carlson is not a fan. For obvious reasons. And for those reasons, it's by far the lowest rated on Rotten Tomatoes episode of any of the Marvel TV episodes. It got like all the other ones were in the 90s to 80s. This one got like 50. and it was equally as good as all the other ones. But the last episode, yeah, there's a large swath of people that very much disliked it.
Okay, I'm not gonna.
And they're wrong.
I'm not
wrong.
Gonna take that bait, but fuck those people. I don't even want to like. They're
wrong. Ben Shapiro is not a fan.
Here's the thing. Wasn't he the guy, or was it Rush Limbaugh who thought that the Bane Capitol in Batman was based on Mitt Romney, even though the movie was made after he started running for governor? Who was that jackass who thought Nolan put in
that sounds like something Ben Shapiro would say, because it sounds like someone trying to be like, see,
fucking
gotcha.
moron that guy is, dude. Literally the character. Anyways. Yeah, no, I have high hopes. I have high hopes for the Buzz Lightyear thing, and I'm definitely going to watch it. I mean, there was a point where I said, I don't know if I'm going to watch all this stuff, but I think it's cool that they're doing it because people will certainly watch it.
And it's just too good to miss.
Yeah, it's like I can't miss it. They're doing just such, and obviously I haven't seen the last episode of Falcon, but they're doing too good of a job for me to just not be in on the conversation with these.
The writing in the WandaVision finale alone is just it's the level of talent that they're bringing into these things, and they're going to have the people who made this show, the Falcon and Winter Soldier, they're going to be doing Captain America 4. Like the amount of talent that they're bringing into these TV shows is just incredible. It's incredible.
It remains to be seen on the Pixar side, though. You know, like Marvel's doing a good job. Lucasfilm seems like they've got a good direction now. But it remains to be seen what Pixar is going to be like post Lasseter, because I don't know because Soul he worked on. I know that he did do work on that.
Okay.
So we haven't yet had the Pixar movie that he had nothing to do with. And by the way, Coco is also a phenomenal Pixar movie. I watched that the other day.
Coco's fantastic.
Yeah, but that's kind of what remains to be seen in their whole trinity of properties that they own, right? Like you've got Marvel and Lucasfilm firing. Is Pixar gonna still have the juice when they do a TV show, which Pixar has never done? So I'm not betting against it, but
So without further ado, because I don't unless you have anything else. Okay, so if you could pick anyone in this movie to be, who would it be?
Boy, that's probably the tough question for this one. I like Ham's attitude, but I wouldn't want to be him because he has trouble like actually functioning. But I like his approach to life. I also like Slinky's approach to life because he's chill and he relaxes. I think though I would want to be Andy in this situation. He seems to have a pretty good. Yeah, no, he seems to have a pretty good life. I'm not gonna lie. He has a lot of friends. You know, he's a lot of people over for his birthday party. He has a lot of cool toys. People seem to like the kid. He's got a good disposition.
So I don't know why, but that just made me really happy.
Yeah. No, I'd rather be Andy.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So mine is more funny because that's very wholesome, and I'm very jealous of that take because that honestly that warmed my heart to hear. Because he's not. There's no problems with Andy. Like he's the last we see of him, he lets go of Woody, and it's like a tough moment for him. And every single time I see it, or marginally even think about it, I cry.
Yeah.
So okay, wow. Look at you, Tim.
Just coming up with stuff, dude. That's why I'm paid to do this shit.
Yeah. So mine is Slinky for the sole reason that you said he's always high.
He definitely is.
And
There's no question.
He's just enjoying life. They don't have to find food. They don't have to find water. They don't need anything. They don't need anything except for company. They need good vibes, and that's it. Slinky lives off of good vibes, and I wish I was that simple. I really do. I wish I was that simple.
I'm going to introduce the next award because I have a soapbox to stand on for this one.
All right, is it a new award or is it the next one?
It's our classic one.
Oh,
it is the Ted Cruz Go Fuck Yourself award.
I'm gonna sit back for this one for the YouTube audience. Cross my legs.
Put your legs up. Get ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've alluded to this before. The person who, here's the thing, Sid is in jail within 2 years of this movie coming out, so I'm not worried about him.
Sid's the easy one.
Woody, coming out of this movie, ignoring the other three, can go fuck himself. And I mean that sincerely. And there's some things that people don't think about with this movie.
I need you to not even talk negatively about this in proximity to Tom Hanks.
Nope.
I need you to simmer.
Listen to me. When he recruits Sid's toys to help him escape, and they do, putting their lives on the line, they will probably be destroyed by Sid after this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once they help him,
again,
he bails on them.
Again,
R-rated. He doesn't take any of them with him. He just goes off the fence.
Though the argument can be made that the toys now are like Sid's panopticon. They're always watching.
No.
And they force Sid to now be good and act right.
That dude is school shooter crazy. Okay?
We already addressed that, Tim.
He's not learning anything. He's a horrible person. Woody just leaves him there. Okay?
There's one answer. Did you have more?
I have a lot more. I'm going to keep it quick though. The thing I hate the most, the thing I absolutely hate the most is what I talked about earlier, is that when these toys wake up, they all have the same reaction. They all believe that they are who their toy says they are. So Woody acting like a prick is very annoying to me. That's two.
Okay.
The very last thing. You
got prongs. You got prongs for this shit.
Yes.
In this essay, I will.
When Buzz is like drunk sad, doing the Mrs. Nesbit thing.
I am Mrs. Nesbit.
Yeah, he's clearly like they're trying to do that. He's drunk. Woody is like beating the shit out of him with his own arm. Like,
okay. Yes.
That is not what you do when your friend is drunk sad.
But
he's a selfish prick.
But the Ted Cruz Go Fuck Yourself award, if there was one person in this movie that I could punch in the face, there's one person. And it's not a child. It's not.
Right.
It's Sid's dad.
Okay. Oh God, did he freeze right as he said that? Boy, this is great content. I wonder if I should just go ahead and make up what Tony would say here. The beauties of modern technology, y'all.
And we are back, everybody. We had some technical difficulties. Tim, why are you on a cell phone?
Y'all, these are the beauties of modern technology in the day in which we live. My Wi-Fi just gave out apparently, so the rest of this is going to be very grainy audio with some weird feedback. So I hope you're okay with that.
We apologize, and all I have is a little bit left. So, Sid's dad, for the sole reason that he's the reason for every bad thing that happens in this movie. Sid's dad made Sid, and is the one that's Scud's owner. So think about all the bad stuff that happens in the movie. It all can be traced back to the dad. All the toys being exploded, all the toys being tortured, all the toys being scared, merely living next to him. All of it. All of the bad shit that happens is because of Sid's dad. And for that, Sid's dad, go fuck yourself. Ted Cruz, please go fuck yourself. Tim, where can they find you?
I'm on the Instagram. I'm on the Twitter.
The Instagram. Yes.
I'm on Clubhouse. I'm on everywhere, guys. Same username everywhere. I just got a Top Shot account today. Same username. It is at TLEDUC32. Tony, where are you at?
At TFelix3412. I'm also on Clubhouse, and I'm on Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. Tim, I believe is it my turn?
It's your turn. It's your turn.
So I think based on our conversations, I'm pretty sure you could guess where I'm going here. Because Tim, we're gonna have my buddy Mike, my former mock trial co-counsel, on to discuss the movie from our Lord and Savior Christopher Nolan, the one and only Inception, that was mentioned earlier in this podcast. We're gonna be talking about Inception.
Wow.
We're gonna be talking about Inception. It's gonna be great. Mike is going to come on. He's got some takes. And here's the thing. I'm not bringing someone on to just throw softballs at back and forth. He doesn't like Nolan movies. He actively dislikes them. And so I am coming on. This is going to be like a summit. This is going to be like a debate. And you're going to need to moderate it because we're going to get deep into this movie. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
Now I'm nervous.
And yeah, you should get nervous because we're going to get so deep, we might even get into the fourth level of a dream state. So it's going to be great. It's going to be good. We might even jump into limbo. I don't know. We'll see. Which it looks like that's where you're at currently. So, Tim, thank you. I don't think I've ever said thank you on this podcast. So thank you for, being a very fun half of this podcast. And thank you to the listeners because we couldn't do it without you. You got anything else to say?
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, guys. And again, if you're watching along with us, or if this is now going to be the impetus for you going back to watching the movie, enjoy it. It's a very positive movie. It's one of the best parts of, or it's one of my favorite memories as a child watching it. Randy Newman's voice is just a shot of serotonin. It's just great. And, sometimes you just need a friend and you just got to progress with them throughout life. And, positivity wins. So anyways, thank you guys. This has been Toy Story. This has been the Tim and Tony podcast. And of course, I cannot forget Ted Cruz. Please go fuck yourself. Elvis Monroe, please play us out.
One day, someday, fiction girl. She's my one day, someday. She's my one day, someday. Gotta have it, gonna call her baby. One day, someday. She's gonna call me baby, gonna have a family. I can see it in her eyes. Future's so bright. Gonna wake up by your side. One day, someday. She's my one day, someday. Fiction girl. She's my one day, someday.